Alright, what's up everyone? Today we're going to be unboxing the Intex Mariner 4 inflatable raft. This is going to be my first unboxing video, so just stick with me. Before I begin, I'll note that I've had this raft already for around 7 years. It's still in pretty good condition aside from some normal wear and tear. It's funny because right after getting this raft, the old one sprung a leak, which I still have to fix. Alright, anyways, let's get to it. First we're going to go over what's in the box. Then we're going to inflate the raft, have a look, and then I'm going to talk a bit about what I like and what I dislike about it. Alright, so here's what's in the box. We got the boat, and we got the floor. And here we also have a battery bag, which I hardly use anymore. And we also have 3 inflatable seats, which I also hardly use anymore, for reasons I'll get to later. Also comes with a carry bag, which fits everything. It's really nice, it's really convenient. And it also comes with a pump. This pump seems to be an upgrade from the pump that came with the first one that I got. It seems a lot more durable. But it's still small enough to conveniently carry in the boat with you, which I highly recommend doing considering that it's an inflatable raft. If you should lose pressure for any reason, like a puncture, a leak, or something like that, it's always good to have a pump in the boat, put more air in case that happens. It also comes with these collapsible oars, which seem to be a really convenience, but honestly they're kind of crappy. They're held together by this plastic connector, which honestly is just shit. It's really flimsy, and a lot of force gets exerted on it while you're rowing. So this will definitely break after normal use. I think there are tutorials on the internet on how to make replacements for these if you want to use them. So definitely check that out if you're going to use the stock oars. Lastly, it comes with a repair kit, which is really nice because even a nice inflatable raft like this one will probably leak or puncture after some normal use, so it's always good to have this on you. Alright, with that said, let's inflate it and take a look. Alright, so here's the inflated raft. It's around 10 feet long, and if I remember correctly, just under 5 feet wide. Alright, I'm going to talk a bit about what I like about it and what I don't like so much about it. First of all, what I like about it. It's really portable, it's really stable, and it's pretty durable. In terms of portability, you saw earlier, deflated and folded up. It folds up in a really compact size. It's really nice if you like camping. You could just fold it down, pack it in your car. You have tons of room for your other stuff, tents, sleeping bags, whatever else you might bring camping. It also folds up nicely for storage at home. I also find it to be really stable. I will say though, I'm pretty light and I skateboard a lot, so I have a pretty good sense of balance. This is really going to vary from person to person. I've heard people say that this isn't stable enough for their liking. But for me personally, I mean, I fly fish a lot. I could stand up and fly fish from this comfortably. I could cast in any direction. I could probably get up and dance on it and not have to worry about it tipping over or me falling in or all that. I'll also say that it handles rough water pretty well. A few years ago I was on one at Pottles Reservoir in eastern Washington, this nice big lake out in the middle of the desert. It's pretty windy there. So I was on the middle of the lake, it suddenly started getting really windy, and there were white caps on the water, water got pretty rough, and I just kept fishing. The boat handled it really well. I don't think I took on very much water, so it does handle rough water pretty well. Probably better than a lot of small boats, a lot of inflatables, a lot of other inflatables. It's also pretty durable, especially for an inflatable of this cost. I've run it into gravel beaches, rocks, sharp sticks, all the nasty stuff, and in 7 years of having one, I think I've only had 2 bottom punctures, both of which were pretty easy to fix. Lastly, I'll note that it has a nice spot in the back where you can attach a trolling motor mount, which makes attaching a trolling motor to this boat super easy. Now for what I don't like as much about it. I'll start with the oar locks. These things are pretty cheap and flimsy, and they're small too. They don't fit standard size oars, which means you're stuck either using the stock Intex oars, which as said earlier are kind of shitty, or you have to make your own oars for them. In my case, I got cheap aluminum kayak paddles that are about the same diameter as these, and I removed the paddle from one end of each, and that worked pretty nicely. Also, even if you get the oar situation figured out, these things are pretty flimsy. You should keep them clean and good working order. You should lubricate them to extend their lifespan, but if you row this thing around a lot, they will break on you eventually, sooner or later. If you plan on doing that, I would definitely recommend getting replacement oar locks ahead of time for when that happens. Also, there's the size. As I said earlier, it's big enough for one person to fish out of comfortably, which works well because I usually go out by myself in this thing. But it's a bit too small for 2 people to fish out of. If you're going to try to make that happen, you have to know the other person pretty well. And you have to be careful not to hit each other in the face. That can get pretty nasty, especially if you're throwing like raffles with treble hooks or stuff. Definitely don't want to be hooking each other with that. Lastly, there are all the disadvantages inherent with inflatables. You got the swollen sides, which are filled with air to float the thing. As a result, this thing's pretty crammed for a 10-foot boat, just because the sides take up room. You can work around this problem. As I said earlier, I don't really use the inflatable seats anymore. I've replaced them with storage boxes that I can sit on. That allows me to carry the gear that I need. Also, with the boat, there's the long setup and takedown time. You have to put the floor in, you have to inflate it, you can't just take it out of your car and put it in the water. As I said, I've had one of these for 7 years, I'm pretty familiar with it. But even for me, it takes me about 15 minutes to set it up, 15 minutes to pack it. That's 30 minutes every time I take it out, so that's definitely something to consider. Lastly, this is a big one for inflatables. There's temperature and pressure. As you know, air expands when it heats up, it contracts when it cools down, and as a result, when the temperature gets warmer, the pressure in the tubes increases. When it gets cooler, it decreases. So you definitely have to keep an eye on the pressure, especially if you take this thing out all day. You inflate in the morning, it gets warmer, the pressure will increase, and you have to be careful not to overinflate it, or else it will make the tubes wear down faster. And then, as it starts to get cool again towards the evening, you have to pump more air in to make sure it still has enough air. So you really have to watch the pressure to make sure you aren't over or under inflating it as the temperature changes. In conclusion, I think this is a really good boat for the money. As I said, I've been fishing out of one for 7 years, and I think I'll continue to do so. Alright, thank you everyone for watching.